Oh, I didn't get a good pop on that. But it's been a week since my teeth have come out. I can finally drink. I deserve this. I'm starting off with Ed DeRosa's illicit sending Woodinville whiskey here, barrel proof. And happy Thursday, everybody. It's Josh here with On the Wrong Lead. Gonna have a fun little show for you today. We got a guest since good old Mark is out of town, and he actually had one request when he went out of town, and that was that we didn't replace him with a redhead again. I don't know what happened, but he saw Ryan Dickey on, and he just realized he couldn't compete. Someone might have passed along the information that Ryan Dickey's ex-girlfriend had to Mr. Mark, and just I don't know. I think he just had a little bit of a I don't know. He just felt very small after hearing that. Caleb, I mean, what should we do with our insecure friend Mike or Mark? No, Mike.
No,
Mike,
you had it right.
Capitan. Yeah, I had it right. Mike Capitan.
Right the first time.
Yeah.
You don't want to be less, or someone else can feel like they're more. So I feel like Mark just has to face those fears and put the big girl panties on and learn to handle it.
Speaking of big girl panties, Brian, how you doing? Did you select your Yeti or did you unmute?
Hey, did you watch Saturday Night Live in the early 90s for Stuart Smalley?
Yes.
That's Mark in the ginger form. He's good enough, and he's smart enough, doggone it. So you guys making fun of him while he wasn't here offends me.
Well, so I did watch a bit of Saturday Night Live in the early 90s, but you know what I watched a ton of in the early 90s?
Oh, yeah.
Let's bring in the man himself, Mr. Andrew Champagne, wrestling GIF connoisseur, and I don't know. You're a man of many hats. How you doing, Andrew?
Oh, I'm doing just fine, thanks. That'll be in my obituary. 142 wins at Saratoga and wrestling GIF connoisseur. Yeah, you just write it right now. Anyway, I'm happy to be here, happy to pinch hit, and this is going to be a lot of fun. We've got a couple of really cool races coming up at Turfway, a couple of Derby preps coming up this weekend, a lot of chances to make some money. Hopefully we can capitalize on a couple of them.
Yeah, for sure. We got some nice big fields. We got some really good racing. Surprisingly, Santa Anita actually looks like it has a really good card, which I know they canceled tomorrow to move to Monday due to the rain, but
running on top of Golden Gate, which moved one of its cards over to Monday so that it could run unopposed. Racing in a nutshell.
So true.
But hey, the golden hour, that means an extra golden hour.
That's true.
Yeah, but all 30 horses in California are going to be racing on Monday.
So Andrew, why don't you tell the people a little bit about yourself here? What you doing now?
Sure. So you may know me from my contributions at that place right back here, Saratoga Racecourse. Wound up working for the Pink Sheet, one of my first jobs out of college. Moved out west about 8 years ago to work for HRTV, TVG, Daily Racing Form, and just got back into the gambling side of things as a content manager at Katina Media, doing a lot of really cool stuff, managing some sites in the gambling space, and also back to contributing regular horse racing content on playfecta.com. That's the site. I'll have a lot of Derby stuff coming up this coming Derby season, and you have to imagine there's going to be some stuff about this place back here. I'd bet on that, but it's good to be back for sure. Still going to be doing everything else that I've been doing. So if you've seen me around, you know how much content I can put out there, and hopefully we can put some more stuff out tonight that makes some people a little bit richer.
I believe you've been described as both a wrestling GIF machine and a content machine. So
Well, hey, there's a lot of people that would say a lot worse, so let's go with that.
All I know is I feel intimidated. His resume reads like a Bob Baffert indictment. That thing was like 87 lines long.
Oh man.
Good thing Mark's not here.
Goodness.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, Mark, I'm
Can we
I mean,
appeal and go line by line? And can you pay for my lawyer to do that for months at a time and drag it out and drag everyone else through the mud?
Well,
No.
of course, that's only standard.
Awesome. Cool. Good that we're on an understanding, Brian.
oh, that's so funny. So Nick is already saying if we ever need to go 10 deep in the handicapping bullpen, let me know. He'll come on the show. Nick, honestly, this is too deep. And I believe this is about as deep as we go in the bullpen. Well, actually,
I'm the last arm. I'm back to AAA tomorrow morning.
we do have a knuckleballer. We have a knuckleballer in the old bullpen in the GOAT Andy Villanueva, who's just like I kept on telling him, like, as soon as we do Sam Houston, I want to have you on. And we just, like, Sam Houston all of a sudden decided that they were going to start running earlier on Thursdays. So I think I'm going to have to card a special Sam Houston show just so we can get maybe Texas Champion Days. So just so we can get Andy on, because he's just like every week he's just like been sending me like these very passive aggressive messages like, I see that you still have not had me on for that Sam Houston show you talked about 2 months ago. So we'll get you, Andy.
He's going to peg some winners down at Sam Houston.
I'll definitely peg him.
We'll be pegged for sure.
Oh God.
Not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
I don't think a 10-foot pole. Well, anyways, let's take a look here. We got a little bit till this next race at Turfway here. We're coming up on race 6. Looks like we got about 9 minutes to post. Got a field of 8. It looks like 7. It looks like the 1A scratch. We got a field of 7 here. As our guest, Andrew, I'll let you take it off. What did you kind of see here in race 6 here?
All righty, so I'm going to kick things off by going out on a really, really, really big ledge, which can only mean one thing, and that's that I like the favorite. Number 5, Moonlight Rain. I think the last race is just a throwout. Didn't get the setup that this one needs. There's a fair amount of early speed, I thought, signed on for this one. You're going to have Hold On to Your Tierra, who's a sprinter stretching out, draws that inside post. That one sort of has to go. And you're also going to see a little bit of speed, I think, from the 7 Red Hot Katie, who was 3rd in a pretty similar spot last time out, went on the lead. I think both of those horses are going to go, and I think that could set things up for a closer that needs a pace to run at. Both the 2-back effort and the 3-back effort were very good. The one price that I'm a little surprised isn't taking more money right now, and we've got some time, so that could very well change. But number 3, I like him. When last seen, went wire to wire at Belterra against $7,500 claimers. Goes for $8,000 in this spot. Certainly doesn't seem totally overmatched. And if something happens where I like him, finds herself on the lead, maybe she's got a shot to do some damage at a bigger number than I certainly thought. Having said that, if you're playing this late pick 3, if maybe you got bounced out of the late pick 4 in the first leg and you want to wheel right back, I don't think this is necessarily a spread spot here. Moonlight Rain, I thought was going to be a very popular single, is 9-5 right now, and honestly, wouldn't be surprised if that one comes down a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like getting the wrong highlighter all over the place. One thing that did kind of pop out at me about the 3 was this. I know, kind of like, going back, back pretty far, but the horse running on synthetic since last year. So that February 6th race, I think, kind of puts this horse right in the mix here. So the 3 was actually kind of where my eyes went to start this race. I think 13-1 is kind of a ludicrous price on this horse, so I expect that to come down a little bit. I know you, like I said, you got to throw out a lot of kind of bad figures, but I mean, did win its last race at Belterra, coming off a layoff, and Phyllis Shetrin, who I'm not very familiar with, 14% off the layoff, so not like she can't prep a horse off a little bit of a break. So I do like that 3 here. Caleb or Brian, you guys got anything?
I looked at this race for a while, and I think it's interesting because, my top pick was going to be the 7 Red Hot Katie. I thought Red Hot Katie was going to be decent here. And then the further I went down the form, I realized that hasn't won in over a year. It just feels kind of dirty taking the 7 to win here at 5-2. So I kind of pivoted a little bit, and I actually landed on the 2. Hold on to your tiara, and at the 10-1 price, I think it's ridiculous, right? So I mean, 50% in the money lifetime for this horse, but it's kind of odd that they chose to come in this spot for the mile just to make the conditions, as non-winners of 2, I believe, or 1 at the mile, I forget what it was. But an interesting move to come from sprinting here just because you met the conditions. So it's one of those things that it doesn't make sense to me, but who am I to question Esquivel as the trainer? So at 10-1, I think it's worth a shot and see what happens.
Yeah, I don't have a clue in this race, to be honest with you guys. I was kind of like Brian. At first, I was like looking at the 7, but I'm like, oh, that doesn't feel good to take a 5-2 on this horse. And I know there's some love here for the 5 and the 6 as well. They're both taking some money, but kind of neither one of them showed up last time. So I don't really want to go bet them after they kind of threw some stinkers last out. So I ended up on the horse that I think everyone sort of looked at as the price being wrong right now, which is the 3 horse. I like them, for all the reasons I think Josh and Andrew already mentioned. The horse has speed, doesn't need the lead, does own a pretty good record at Turfway and at this distance. So this is the horse I think that is clearly getting overlooked on the board. Maybe the 7-year-old off the layoff is scaring some people, but on her day, I think she fits in here, and the price right now is just way too good to pass up, even if it gets cut in half. So yeah, I'll go with the 3.
That seems
And
like
we're
we're
all over the place.
yeah. I mean, seems we're kind of hovering it around here. Matthew says he likes the 3, the 2, and the 1 as he says contest plays. So I don't know what contest you can play with Turfway, but and now Matthew and correct me if I'm wrong, Brian, but Matthew is the bet mix guy, right?
He's the bet mix guru. He's got a great video on YouTube where he walks through how he won $10,000 using only bet mix last summer. I mean, the way he's got that tool set up, I mean, he's sharp with that.
Yeah, and shout out to Matthew. I know he I think had a bit of a health scare a couple weeks ago, so glad to hear that he's on the mend. So hope you're feeling better, Matt. Got a couple of guys here in chat in live to some stuff here at Sam Houston. We got Nick Feldman alive to the 5 in the last at Sam Houston for a nice little $600 pick 5.
Nice.
Jay is also alive to the 8 for the pick 5 at Sam Houston. So looks like we got a little bit of a competition there.
Root for a heater. Root for a heater.
Yep. Yeah, we got a couple minutes here. I'm actually going to throw down a small win wager on this 3 because he's floated up even higher. So let me do that before I forget, and then we'll move on to Gulfstream here next. Got the Fountain of Youth. We did get a big scratch of the 12 Mo Donegal here in the Fountain of Youth. I was kind of bummed because I was very much against Mo Donegal, and I think I don't know, Caleb. I think we talked about this offline. You were also against Mo Donegal in the spot, weren't you?
Yeah, I wasn't going to have him anywhere, so that's disappointing that he scratched.
Yeah. So I did want to bring. I wanted to bring something up just because I know this is something that we're all in a couple different private chats on Twitter. And I know this is something
a couple.
I know that this is something that
kids. Then my goodness,
what a humble brag! How do you have that much time?
I mean, what else? I mean, I work in IT. Come on. But a little bit of discussion on Twitter earlier this week that Kenny McPeak brought up. About this whole number right here, this whole 123. You guys got any thoughts on that? On like how a horse is basically getting punished for winning in a Derby prep?
So I actually had that in my notes, and I think it's ridiculous that any race that rewards Derby points is punishing a horse with extra weight. Be that as it may, the connections knew that this race had that condition, so they still chose to come here. So McPeak, Lucky Seven Stable, it was ultimately their choice. There's a lot of races this weekend that are going to give points on the Derby Trail. They could have gone elsewhere. They chose to stay here. So I think that's interesting because they came in from Keeneland. It's not like they were already in Florida. They could have gone to Aqueduct just as easy for the Gotham here. So, I think it's getting blown out of proportion. Sure, the weight sucks, but they knew.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the conditions here, like because Santa Anita's got kind of like the same thing. The Gotham looks like it doesn't, but yeah, that's interesting. Andrew, what do you think?
It's one of those things where it's, typical horse racing, right? There's these little things that shouldn't happen. They do. I tend to agree with Ken McPeak in one respect, in the fact that this is a situation that needs to get re-examined and potentially changed, because there's just no reason for certain things like that to even pop up. But at the same time, I also agree with Brian in the fact that that stuff is there in the condition book. And if it mattered so much, then maybe Rattle and Roll should have run elsewhere. Having said that, though, Fountain Hutte's a really, really good race, and it came up really tough, even with the scratch of Mo Donegal, who had a little bit of a fever, and I believe is pointing to the wood now, right?
I think that's
Yeah,
what they were
that's
saying. Yeah,
That's what I saw.
Cool. And also, they are headed up to the gate at Turfway, just in case
Awesome.
anybody needs to get some last-minute bets in.
awesome.
Yeah, I still
Yeah,
think the 2 is a great price at 6-1. I'm just gonna throw that back out there.
Yeah, I mean the 3's still sitting at 11-1. Like I'm pretty confused here. And the 5, I mean, it's a pretty flat board. You got the 5 at 2-1, the 6 at 5-2, 7 at 5-2. So
What
looks
am
like
I
all the
on the 6 at 5-2 here? This is a horse that hasn't won in quite a while. Was 6th, beaten 6 1/4 last time out against Similar. Has run behind several of these. What's going on here?
The only thing I'm thinking is you got the class droppers coming out and backing both the 6 and the 7 here.
yeah. Yeah, I know there was a real similar thing at Sam Houston where this horse got just bet off the board, and his figures matched up with everybody else, but because he was dropping, I mean, he ended up winning at 1-5, but I mean, I don't know, very brave of them to bend him down to 1-5.
Right. No, fairness, on this field, the 5-2 and the 6 is a little too short. I mean, you couldn't take that with a healthy conscious, could you?
No.
Oh no.
The 3
I
went
thought it
down
looked
to
good at 6-1.
a lot of late
This
money there.
price. Board in this race is kind of weird everywhere.
Yeah, he is choking the 2, ain't he?
Yeah, the 2 and the 3 got out there, and they've opened up quite a bit.
The 2 is the sprinter stretching out to a mile, so sort of makes sense. But surprised there was that much late money on the 3, though, all the way down to 9-1. And you got the 5 on the rail, who certainly looks good enough if gets running room late.
And of course the 5 has Corrales aboard, which, as if you follow Turfway, Corrales was winning how many races to start this meet?
Like all
Like
of them.
7 out of 9.
I think he's still in like the 30% range. 24%. He's cooled down a little bit. He was at 36% like after like the first month. All right, well, the cavalry's coming.
And the 5 might have caught the shuffle, too.
Who's on the far outside? I didn't see that one. The 6?
Looks like the 6.
The 6 heard us talking shit.
And the 5 just got stonewalled by the 2 stopping.
Yep.
Any chance the 3 gets back on his right lead?
Oh, this is a stagger fest, isn't it?
Wow,
Yeah.
we really talked the 6 into the
Come on,
circle,
let's switch
fellas.
leads.
No, come on,
There it
3.
is.
No, it was too late. It was too late. I can't wait to see the gallop out where he's like 3 lengths ahead of the 6 now.
I mean, I couldn't tell because the angles here are weird, but I couldn't tell if he was like boring way out.
Oh, there it is.
They're about even on the gallop out. Could be worse. But no, that's a brutal beat if you needed the 3. My goodness, no complaints with the effort there. And you're right. We sort of talked the 6 into the winner's circle, and I take full responsibility for that because I was the one going, why is this horse 5-2?
Speaking of the weight situation, apparently the 3 was carrying 500 extra pounds from the from the on the wrong league contingent. So, but yeah, so back to this, Caleb. I don't know. Did you have anything to add about the weight situation here?
long story short, I don't. I care about weight less than probably any handicapper you'll meet. I don't even look at weights when I handicap. I mean, if I'm handicapping a European handicap race and one course is carrying 140 and one's carrying 118, that's a different story. But 123 versus 120, I don't really care. I'm not going to pay attention, and I think it's a bunch of fuss about nothing.
You also isn't there
Typical.
isn't there a setting in time form where you like turn off like the
Yeah, you can
weights?
turn your weights off in time form if you want to make your own adjustments.
I just wonder why you asked the guy who's in shape about weight. I think that's ridiculous. He doesn't get an answer, and we just move
Yeah,
on.
I had a good one here from Stephen Fox saying that he gets punished with extra weight eating too much Marcos and no one bats an eye. So shout out to Ohio Pizza, Marcos Pizza. But yeah, Caleb, why don't you take it here? What did you kind of see in this race here?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start by saying I definitely agree with Andrew. This is an awesome race. This is the most exciting race of the weekend for me. I think there are so many ways you can go. There are so many horses you can make cases for, depending on what angles you're valuing. I mean, time form or early speed or track bias or the pace setup or whatever else. I mean, a lot of these horses have a shot in here. But the way I saw it was I feel like there's a lot of speed. There's a lot of sprinters stretching out in this field. There's a lot of horses that are pretty much need to lead types anyway. I'm thinking the pace is going to be contested. So I'm going with our fat boy, number 6, Rattle and Roll, carrying those extra 3 pounds. I was really impressed with his Breeders' Futurity win. The pace was quick early, but not nuclear for him to just absolutely loop around that field and just inhale that field. I thought that was really impressive. He's been a different horse since they put him around 2 turns. And I think he's the closer in here that I want the most of, given the fact that I am thinking the pace gets pretty swift. I'm a little concerned about the layoff, to be sure. He hasn't been out since October. But I think that with the pace setup, he's going to get what he needs. And even if this isn't the ultimate goal, I almost think he might just be good enough to get the win here anyway. I like to see that Hernandez comes in for the mount. And yeah, I'm going with Rattle and Roll. I think 12-1. I think it's a total joke. I think that's what I see him at the morning line here. 8-1.
They adjusted it for I think the scratch.
Is that for after Modonical? Okay.
Yeah.
I still think 8-1's a joke. I think you probably get, I don't know, 4-1, 9-2 maybe. But either way, I like Rattle and Roll here, and I'll probably get real aggressive to him in a couple of wagers because I have a pretty strong opinion on him in this race. But a lot of ways you can go. So curious where some of you guys landed.
Yeah, I'll jump in real quick just because I had Rattle and Roll as kind of my lone A in this spot. Basically all the reasons that Caleb said. I'm not going to expound too much. Caleb will probably have explained it better than I would. And I loved Rattle and Roll in that last race, the Breeders' Futurity. I think I had both Rattle and Roll and Double Thunder in that one. So I like both those horses in that spot. And that race has been pretty productive. So yeah, I like the 6 here. I did have I was a little curious. And this is probably more of like an underneath or fill out a trifecta kind of thing, or hey, I'm feeling good and got some extra money I want to toss in here. It's kind of a B type horse. The 10 Giant Game. If you toss that Holy Bull last out, that BC Juvenile, I mean, that race fits in very, very well here. Now, I do know. One of my big issues with a lot of speed figures and other stuff is particularly they see the class level and they juice up those numbers. So that could be a juiced up number, right? Because the horse basically on Briz improved by 15 points, which is a pretty big jump. And maybe it's just because went from a maiden to the BC Juvenile, so they have to make the number dress up the number a little bit. Kind of came back down to earth here, but. Second off the layoff, I expect to see a little bit better of an effort. Horse has been working very, very well. I did look at the pace scenario for this race, and it's a bit of a mess. There's a lot of, as we kind of talked, horses stretching out. These young 3-year-olds, you see a lot of horses that have only one on the lead. So you get, you can kind of get a little bit of a murky pace scenario here. So I'm kind of using the 10 as a what if like two horses don't go, two sprinters don't end up getting out there. I mean, the 10 does have some speed, and the 10 does have route speed, right? The horse can stay on. So the horses run at this distance, which a lot of these horses haven't, and has proven himself to be pretty decent at the distance, minus the last race. So 15-1 in the book, and I don't really hear a lot of chatter about this horse. I mean, the horse is definitely bred for the distance. I mean, I'll take a shot here with Dale and Corey, and maybe we get a little bit of a total explosion here with 15-1 here, Giant Game. Andrew, what do you think?
Sure. I'm glad you mentioned Giant Game. I would have him in the underneath realm for me because I liked him a lot in the Holy Bowl. And if you liked him a lot before the Holy Bowl at 4-1, you're probably going to get 4 or 5 times that price on Saturday in the Fountain of Youth if you're willing to just draw a line through that race. And look, that was this horse's first start in 3 months. It's logical to think that maybe that horse needed a race, or maybe there was an issue within the body of the race. There are reasons that you can throw that race out and give him one more shot. I would throw that one in underneath. I would also throw Simplification in underneath. That was the horse that ran second in the Holy Bowl behind White Abario. However, there's a horse in here that I think may be bursting onto the scene off of a win in an allowance optional claiming event, a race that I really liked, and that's number 4, In Due Time.
There you go.
That race looked fantastic when it happened. That horse won by nearly 6 lengths, and it got even better earlier this week. That day's 4th place finisher came back and won, beat a couple of reasonable Todd Pletcher prospects in doing so. That day's 2nd place finisher, American Icon, still a pretty serious racehorse that you might see later on in the Derby Trail. Ironworks, another Pletcher trainee. That was a good race that In Due Time won. Comes in, gets a pretty stiff class test here, and that's why you're going to get the 6-1 morning line price. But 92 buyer speed figure last time out. Buy not this time out of a Curlin mare, so the 2 turns shouldn't be a problem. I like that he has some tactical speed, but that he doesn't need the lead. That's huge. I think he could very well find himself in a perfect trip going up the backstretch, maybe 4th or 5th, about 1.5 lengths, 2 lengths off the lead, and that'd put him in a really nice position turning for home if he's good enough. The other horse that I want to mention that's going to be a very, very big price is number 7, AP's Secret. Look at that pedigree. By Cupid out of an Uncle Mo mare. That's 2 turns top and bottom. Comes in off of a nice win last time out in an optional claiming race where he won a mile in 1:35.2. Has been working lights out. Has gotten better with every single start. And you're telling me I might get Safi Joseph and Tyler Gaffleone at Gulfstream at greater than 20-1? Yeah, I'm going to need to use that horse in a couple of spots. Give me some 4-7 with a little bit of 2-10 underneath.
Nick Feldman mentioned something in chat. He says In Due Time was 250-1 in Vegas for Derby futures before that optional claimer. He's something like 16-1 in Vegas now.
Jeez.
So, yeah. Brian.
So yeah, Andrew can't come on anymore. He stole my horse.
Sorry, Brian.
I had this whole, you should see I should send you a picture, Andrew, because I had a whole talk about this 4. I'm like, I'll be the smart guy. Nobody's going to be on this 4. Kelly Breen and Paco, nobody's going to take this horse. So, the only negative note I had on the 4, and the 4 was my top pick, was I think the 4 kind of looks like a miler when you see the running style.
Maybe.
So for stretching out, I'm a little concerned, but the price I think will offset it, right? So if you get the 6-1, 8-1, I think you'll be fine with that risk and reward. But again, we don't know. I mean, like Andrew said, you got Giants Causeway with a Curlin. So, I mean, the distance shouldn't be a problem, but it's just one of those, the horse on the track. You're like, maybe. It's more so that what I have to talk about wasn't so much positives of horses, as much as it was kind of negatives here. And here's where I'm going to go with this real quick. Simplification, I thought was interesting that Castellano's off the horse. I know Jose is the hot hand, but Castellano got off and he gets on the horse. It's 30-1 in the morning line. Now, I don't know if Sano is just going with the hot hand and Jose Ortiz, but personally, I've always preferred Castellano but I know Jose might be a little bit heavier handed. Maybe that's what simplification needs to win. But it's just one of those things that I thought was interesting because you take a Hall of Famer off for probably a jockey who's going to be a future Hall of Famer, and you're like, hey, doesn't matter? Probably not. But it's just one of those things that stuck out to me. And then, nobody's going to talk about the 8 Emmanuel. Let's be quite honest. Todd Pletcher, Luis Saez, the horse maybe 3-1, but the horse has shown some versatility. Had the Gulfstream Park win, went to Tampa. That was a much slower early pace, and he still commanded the tempo there. And little versatility might sell in this big race, in this big field. And, this probably is the race of the weekend, like you guys said, but I actually handicapped like 6 horses, and I could make an argument for all 6 of them if the price is right come post time. But I'm going to go with Andrew here. I've got the 4, and I'm going to take the 4 with the 6 and the 8, and then if I'm playing any contests, I might try something with the 5 as a prayer.
All right, let's take a look here at chat. Road Warrior, he's a fan of the 7 as well. He says easy across the board bet. Yeah, I looked at the 7. I know a certain handicapper who currently resides in Florida who loves this 7 just a ton. Yeah, I mean the horse is definitely going to need to move forward, but the horses move forward every start so far. So maybe it's not so out of the realm, and coming off a little bit of a freshening up. So. Yeah, the 7 does interest me a little bit. Jay and Matthew both are asking about this 5. Dean Delivers with Miguel Vasquez and Michael Yates, which I know like 2 years ago at Gulfstream was like an unstoppable duo. Like they were just like winning at like 25% or something, and at all kinds of prices. Not doing as well as of late. I think Miguel Vasquez is getting more mounts from different trainers, not just Michael Yates, and Michael Yates is having a bit of an off meet so far. But any interest in this 5 Dean Delivers here?
He looks amazing on time for him, right? Go ahead, Brian.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
Oh, okay. I would like this horse a lot at a 1-turn mile. I'm just not sure about the 2 turns. The pedigree doesn't necessarily say 2 turns, but you see those last 2 races, he was second, beaten a half length by a horse named My Prankster, who's a legitimate racehorse. I mean, I've seen worse big prices.
Caleb?
No, that was kind of my comment. I don't think he can go this far. His last out on time form was enormous. I think it was like a 115. I don't have it up, but I think it was like a 115, which was like the best in the field. And if you believe that, then he's a huge player. But this horse has speed top and bottom. I just don't see the stamina in that pedigree to get him up 2-turn mile in the 16th here. But who knows? I'm not going to bet him, but I could see him on a cutback.
Brian, what do you have?
I'm going to regurgitate everything those 2 just said. This feels like I think the ownership might be pressuring the trainer to put this horse here, try and get in the Derby trail, maybe get a spotlight. My note here is maybe you're going to key this horse underneath in a super factor attracted and hope the horse can hold on, but not likely a play. But it's one of those horses, like I said a few minutes ago, if it was a mythical contest, a $2 win place, sure, maybe I take a flyer in this horse because the price is going to be 20-1.
Yeah, I was actually looking to see if there was like a 3-year-old sprint on this card, but I was looking to see. And then Caleb, what was it? Mo Prankster or My Prankster? Who's the horse that won? Yeah. So I was seeing if he was running this race or in this day, but I didn't see him on the PP. So, yeah, I mean this might be a sprinter. I didn't really have an opinion much one way or the other. I kind of had blinders on, I think, for the 6, so I didn't take a real close look at the 5.
Can I ask a question about number 8 and see what you guys think?
Sure.
Is Emmanuel why Dean's List is in New York for Todd Pletcher? We haven't gotten that race yet, but I thought it was interesting that Dean's List spent the winter in Gulfstream and then went up to New York. So if that's the case, is Emmanuel Pletcher's preferred horse for the 3-year-old trail?
Man, I don't know. I mean, when you consider that Todd Pletcher has approximately 93,173 talented 3-year-olds, they can't all run against each other, and you've got to play some musical chairs. I would maybe think that if he had rerouted Mo Donegal before the Fever. If he reroutes Mo Donegal, absolutely. But as far as this horse goes, maybe he's got talent and the workouts are certainly there, but that race did not come back well so far. In the Union was actually one of the horses that the horse that came out of the In Due Time race beat yesterday at Gulfstream Park. At that kind of a price, 9-2 on the initial morning line, down to 3-1 on the revised line. If he beats me, he beats me, because you're looking at a horse that last time out at Tampa got away to a 25 opening quarter.
Yep.
That's not happening here. Chances are this horse is going to have to either prove he can rate or prove he can go faster than he's shown he can go and hang on going 2 turns. At that kind of short price, to me, that's a favorite you're supposed to try to beat, right?
Yeah. So I guess to kind of connect those 2 points, I don't like Emmanuel for kind of the reason Andrew just said, is the pace scenario. And I don't think Dean's List is dodging Emmanuel. I think he's a sprinter. And like we see so many sprinters do, is they go to New York for the Gotham for the only 1-turn Derby prep race to try to steal some Derby points. I mean, it's a Dean's List. I know we haven't got to this race, but he's by Spadestown out of a Sharp Humor mare. I mean, this horse is a sprinter. Both of his races came at 6 furlongs. I think it's a distance thing more than anything else, as far as why he's there and he didn't stay in Gulfstream.
No, it makes sense. It was one of those things. I had that question written down, and it was worth talking about. I thought it's interesting because I'm thinking, and I'm sure somebody else has to be wondering what Pletcher's thinking, right?
Yeah. Before we move on, I know we could talk about this race forever, but no one mentioned this horse, and it's the horse I'm having the hardest time figuring out what to do with. I know Road Warrior likes him for totally unbiased reasons, but the number 9, High Oak. I mean, what's the consensus on this horse? Because I really can't figure out what I want to do with him in this field.
This was the one that we talked about. This is the one that we talked about last night. You know, when we took a quick look at it, Caleb, and like, I don't know. I mean, that Saratoga Special sure is a great race, but that's also a 6.5 furlong race as a 2-year-old, and the horse hasn't gone past 7 furlongs yet. I mean, I guess like at least you're getting an okay price to try and see if this horse can stretch out, but you know, I mean, first of all, I can't stand the name of the dam of High.
I was waiting for someone.
I mean,
to
Champagne. I mean, might as well be High Life Sue, you know, instead of Champagne Sue here. But no, I mean, it looks like. I mean, the horse was successful sprinting. I know these 2-year-olds like to stretch out. I mean, I kind of think that this might be a sprinter too. I think this might be the same thing. But I mean, Bill Mott knows horses much better than I do. So,
Not true.
Oh, that's definitely true. Andrew, what did you think?
I mean, when he asked that, I knew he was going to point that horse out. I had the shrug ready because I have no idea. I was there for that Saratoga Special race. I believe I had a pick 4 going in that race and ran 2, 3, 4, 5 behind High Oak. It's never a fun thing to do, but I do remember Anthony Stabile liked that horse an awful lot, so I know he made a whole bunch of money at 10-1. Then the horse comes back in the hopeful, and I don't know if he bounced or if he got hurt or what happened, but if you can forgive that race and go back to the Saratoga Special, maybe his best is good enough, but we don't know if he can go 2 turns. We don't know if this horse is going to be ready to roll off of, a 6-month layoff at this point, 5 or 6, something like that. I can't really do math right now, which is a great thing since we're talking about handicapping and math and times and figures and stuff. But would it surprise me if he's well met? No. Would it stun me if he won? Probably. Do I want every bit of him in the Pat Day Mile on the Derby undercard if he goes there? Absolutely.
Brian, you got anything?
Negative.
All right.
I skipped right over horse.
All right, we got some more stuff in chat, but we got 5 minutes here to race 7 at Turfway. Andrew, as our guest, what you got here at the 7th and Turfway?
All right, this was actually my best bet of this late pick 3 sequence, and we're getting 9-1 right now. So I'm feeling pretty good right now. Let's take a look at number 3, Joyful Heart, who drops in after a couple of starts against Starter Allowance Company. And look, this is an $18,000 claimer. It's not like he's coming back into a bottom level claimer. It's a decent group, but he's been running against some pretty decent Starter Allowance Company. He was 4th in each of the last 2 starts. 3 back, he was 2nd, beating a dirty nose, going 5 furlongs. His races going a mile are fine. I think the class relief is really going to help this one. Now, the connections, I got to tell you, scare me. Miranda, 4% on the meet. George Bush, the trainer, 1 for 7 at the meet, 2 for 43 in 2021. Maybe that's part of the reason we're getting the price. But based on speed figures and past form, and based on the fact that for a race at this level, it's not like there's a ton of early speed signed on. I think Joyful Heart could set a really nice trip and have every chance turning for home at a really nice price. Bugle Berry is currently the 8-5 favorite off of that 7-2 morning line. The races 2 and 3 back were fine. Drops back to what's probably the right level. Pretty big jockey switch, though. Note that Farron Peterson is on for Rafael Bejarano, but 9-5, and I don't think towers over this group. Wouldn't shock me if that horse got the money, but at this horse's current price, give me Joyful Heart 9-1 off of that 9-2 morning line with back races that are absolutely good enough.
Oh, I see the price ticking down as soon as they heard that analysis. It's down
Yeah, it was my
$8,
$10 win bet. It's all my fault.
Whoa. Humble brag with that wager size, sir.
Heavy better. It's like cheeseburger and let it ride. Make room. Heavy better.
Brian, what do you got?
Man, I like the 4 when I capped this race, but at 9-5, there's no way. The horse is 5 for 9 at Turfway Park, drops in class. Sure, makes some sense, but now I see the 2 is flashing at 9-5 also. I'm just gonna throw this out there. The third try at this level for the 2 at 9-5, I want nothing to do with it. I landed on the 7 only because I really like the horse that gets claimed every race. Because why not? The horse never actually unpacks. Brownfield's horrible off the claim, but this horse has been in his barn for like 3.5 days, so I don't think it matters. And it's one of those races where, at 5-1, more so than liking the 7, I don't like the 2 and the 4, and the 7 has some figures that fit. If a few things go right at 5-1, I think it's worth a play for me.
Caleb, anything to add?
So I actually did like the 2, the one Brian doesn't like. Just for me, I think the horse gets the lead, and I don't think there's any real speed in here. I sort of initially kind of settled on the 4, but once again, this horse just doesn't win very much. I mean, as of 3 or 4 starts ago, the horse was 2 for 42, and then all of a sudden rattled off back-to-back wins. And you're getting Bejarano off for Farron Peterson now. The horse is 1 for 17 at the distance. It's an 8-year-old gelding. I know that he wanted this level 2 back, and he's dropping in class, but I just can't have this horse at 8-5. So I think I like the 2. I think this horse could wire. I did like Andrew's 3 a little bit, and at this price, I don't like my 2 4 times more than I like the 3. So I'll say that for sure. So if the prices stay this way, I might actually use them both in some combination. But I like the 2 and a little bit of the 3.
I've got one other note really quick here, and it's not so much that I like the horse in this particular race, but I wouldn't be surprised if someone reached in and claimed the 6 Maligator. Look at the races this horse ran last year at Indiana Grand, and that meet's going to be starting up fairly soon. It would not shock me at all if this horse winds up getting claimed, and if the owners claim this horse for 12.5 last time out to make a quick buck run back here for some people that clearly spot, hey, look, this horse won 3 times at Indiana Grand last year. Indiana Grand starting back up again. Maybe we claim this horse with some starter allowance conditions and see what happens. But just wish that horse would have shown more on the synthetic in each of the last couple of starts. But I'm very interested in seeing who winds up getting pulled out of this race, because I think we're going to be seeing a lot of horses from this meet over at Indiana Grand when that starts up again next month. And actually, it's not Indiana Grand anymore, right? It's the Horseshoe. I don't want Rachel.
Horseshoe, Indianapolis.
Yep. I don't want Rachel and her newborn son yelling at me. So Horseshoe. With
the new announcer, John Dooley, going to be taking over there. And was it Brian Aragoni? I think just got announced the old Canterbury paddock analyst as the paddock analyst at Indiana Grand. So congrats on those two getting a nice Horseshoe Indianapolis. I even did it.
It's going to take some time to get used to, right?
Well, what was it before? Indiana Downs, right?
Yeah, it was
Indiana
Indiana Downs. Then it became Indiana Grand, and that befuddled a lot of people on Twitter because there was Indiana Grand, and then there was IG Racecourse, and everyone was tagging the wrong Twitter accounts, and that really ticked some people off. And now that we're getting used to IG Racecourse, that had to change. And if you think that's confusing, just look at the horseshoe situation involving Bally's in Las Vegas that also involves the Tropicana.
Yep. So yeah, because the rumor is that Tropicana is going to be renamed Bally's. Bally's is currently being renamed Horseshoe. And I think they lost the Horseshoe in Hammond, right? That's not Caesars anymore?
It's still called Horseshoe, but I'm
Yeah.
not sure who owns the property.
Interesting. Matthew's on the 6 here at Turfway.
Remade the lead.
Yeah, my 2 did not get the break or start that I was hoping for there. But,
The 3 is 6-1, was 9-1 when they were loading the gates. Prepare the they knew tweets.
Ooh, the 2 went down to 6-5. Oh my god.
How's that chalk taste?
I mean,
Why don't you ask Steven?
I gotta get it to win.
Tastes like
first.
Marco's Pizza.
25-1 for the opening quarter. This 3's got every chance if it's good enough.
Actually, I ended up playing exacta key box 3 with the 2-4 here.
Oh, defensively, huh, Mark?
That's my only bet.
I think the 3 might be gone here, huh?
Run
Yeah,
away.
watch it come in like 3-5 or some shit there.
Yeah, this 2's going to need... Well, the 2's starting to get going a little bit.
Well, I got the 4 in that's underneath, I don't know, or in the key box anyway, so.
The 3 is just sitting chilly still, though. So
Yeah, I mean, that middle move was actually pretty quick, but he had a big lead, to be fair.
Now here's a camera angle nobody can stand.
Right, the low one where it seems like they're all staggering home. My goodness.
Right.
You think you think you're home free, and all of a sudden they cut the angle of the other one, and you're like, oh, I'm like 3 lengths behind.
Oh shit! Here they get.
Oh my God!
You've got to be kidding me.
Oh my god, I missed that exact.
Unreal.
Really no fault with the effort on that 3 at that price, but that's
Wow.
that's a disgusting beat.
Looks like
Couple
it's
disgusting beats here, and it's probably all my fault.
Bad beats for me in a row. I need
Oh.
more bourbon.
boom. Yeah, pop open that bottle. Yeah, man. Yeah. Chalk, boring, and Nick
But
Feldman.
I gave out the pick, so I mean, I had a winner on the sheet.
And
And my bomb at least tried, so I can live with that.
For the record, the 7's still in the paddock.
No, just cross the wire.
There's a reason why I
right.
know he wants to hold the horse, right?
Let me see. I'm gonna go back to a couple of these comments here from the Gulfstream race before we moved on. Matthew pointing out that Castellano is 1 for 117 in graded stakes last 5 years with morning line above 1. So that might be a factor. So maybe fade the Castellano horse. I don't know, who is he aboard?
He's on the
He's on
13.
Oh, captain.
I think.
Yeah, captain.
Oh, the 11. Yep.
Matthew also likes the 10. Classiest horse, last 3 purse, best adjusted speed. The 5 is 4 for 4, getting to the win place holes at Gulfstream. Include him in verticals.
Yeah, that's
yeah,
Dean
that's a good
delivers
point.
for you.
Did anyone pick the 2 as their top pick? I mean, anyone who watched that race, I mean, obviously Simplification is the horse that you want out of that field. But the trouble was so obvious, and then the finish was so strong with the gallop. I'm kind of concerned he's going to get just absolutely crushed come Saturday.
I think he's going to be super short.
Mhm.
Brian?
No, I agree. I think they switched to Jose so that he can get that horse home. Yeah, you hear it all the time. Certain jockeys are light with their hands, certain jockeys are heavier. Jose in a closer probably has a little bit more strength than Castellano has right here. So I get it, but you yourself had said that you thought this pace would be fair. I think it was you, maybe Andrew, I forget. But if you think it's fair, I mean, this horse looked great against White Barrio. So
Jay pointing
it's
out
one of
this
those things
8.
I think will be interesting.
Jay pointing out about this 8 that Pletcher took the 8 to Tampa with plenty of races at Gulfstream to run in. So,
well, if I may jump in there, he also did that with a little horse named Always Dreaming, who wound up winning the Florida Derby and then wound up winning the Kentucky Derby. I think that's just as much a case of Pletcher having a ton of horses. And while there are a lot of different races to run in, he's got so many horses that he's got to get a little bit creative.
Steven saying Chalk heard us talking smack.
No, I think that was actually a case where my 3 was once again like 240 pounds overweight. Just got reeled in the last couple of strides. And you guys are right, that low camera angle where you think you're home and you just get swallowed up. My goodness.
Dude, I thought
disgusting.
I thought the 3 was winning by like 2 open lengths easy, and then all of a sudden just like it gets swallowed up. And I don't know how much that was the horse actually just staggering home or if it was that camera angle, but
I blame the camera angle.
Yep.
Yes. At Caitlin Free. What the hell is that camera angle?
yeah.
Strongly worded letter.
Hey, she said that she doesn't get a ton of hate mail in her DMs, so we can start filling up. We can start filling up the inbox.
Well, she was more like Rachel and like bashing horse players on Twitter. She'd get tons of hate mail. You guys remember that day? That was a great day.
Oh God.
Oh gosh. Look, regardless of anybody, like the one moral of the story on horse racing Twitter lately is don't be the main character.
Oh yeah. I heard someone say the word swift earlier today, like during, and I just like I kind of like shuddered a little bit, and I was like, oh God. So.
It's like Friday the 13th. There's 9 versions of Swift.
Yeah. So let's move over to Santa Anita.
Good call.
Race 6, San Felipe. We're gonna be going to mile 16th here. What do we got? How many horses do we got in this race?
7.
We got 7 horses.
Let's cover all 7.
I mean, we might. I think you only need 1 horse in this race. But Caleb, I'll let you as the West Coast correspondent.
I don't want to go first in this race. I don't know who wins.
You don't know who wins this race?
I know you love Forbidden Kingdom because he has
absolutely
in that big 8.
He's also my racehorse micro share owner.
So I mean, I guess the race does start with him. He's going to be on the lead. He has the best last out fig. He has probably the best resume. I guess my question with him is he's never gone 2 turns. And while he is by American Pharaoh, which lends some stamina on the top, that bottom of that pedigree is just nothing but speed. I mean, there is not a miler to be found in that pedigree. So I don't know if he really, wants to go this far necessarily. He's never done it before. I wonder if he's going to get an uncontested lead like he enjoyed in his last race. In both of his losses, the races where he didn't get an easy lead, where he did have to fight early and he didn't clear off. So if he has to deal with that again today, then I'm not really sure how he's going to handle that. Beyond him, my big problem was I just didn't know where to go. There's no one in here I really like, so it's kind of picking the best of a mediocre bunch, I think. I don't have a single top pick. I truly don't. I was surprised to see Armagnac at, what is he, like 5-1?
5-1.
Yeah, that's Johnny Velasquez and Bob Baffert. I mean, I tend to think those are the Bafferts that I always want, even more so than the Flavian Pratt Bafferts. But again, I mean, he's a horse that hasn't really proven he can pass other horses, and he's probably not going to get the lead. But what I did like is that he has a win at this track and at this distance, where pretty much every other horse in this field is unproven, trying to go 2 turns, or at least on the dirt anyway. So I did kind of like him, but before I ramble forever, I will say I actually ended up on a horse. With Nick Feldman. Nick, I ended up on the same horse you did, the number 7, Cabo Spirit. I know this horse just might be a turf horse. I get that. But you kind of have to ignore the speed figure last out because it was a weird race. The track was extremely biased towards speed. Messier ran like a 724 buyer. I'm not really paying attention to the speed figure, but rather Cabo Spirit beat Wharton by 7 lengths. And Wharton is a half decent Baffert horse. Wharton actually beat Armagnac by 7 lengths in his debut. So I tend to think that when you see a field that's that strung out, it generally indicates that there was some quality in that race. I know it was only 5 horses, but to me, it kind of answered the question that this horse can handle the dirt. And he can, hang with some of the better dirt horses on the West Coast. I just don't want a short price in here because I don't trust anybody. I think Cabo Spirit's going to be a nice price, and that's kind of where I landed. So I'm with Nick Feldman for all the same reasons.
Yeah, interesting about Armagnac. Don't you think that that's a turf horse,
Who
Caleb?
Is it?
What do you think?
I mean, yeah, I think the horse is certainly bred to handle the turf. I mean, but he also handles the dirt. I mean, given his record as well. So I mean, I'm not sure I would say he's like a pure turf horse necessarily, but I mean, he might be better on turf. We'll never know as long as he's in Baffert's barn. But
I don't know. Remember who's the horse that I kept on betting last year?
oh god, the one that went to Belmont for like a minute over the summer.
Chicago.
Yeah. Well, I mean that's one of them. Yes. Not Kingley. Kingley's another Baffert turf horse that he won the graded stakes with. Dujour, thank you. Dujour, yeah. I had that horse when he won. Was it Derby Day?
Yeah, it was the American Turf.
Yeah. And I kept betting him after that, like I owed him money or something. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, Caleb already announced he saw the E8 and he knew who my top pick was, Forbidden Kingdom. Shout out to our friend, dear friend PDT, who in Vegas when we were there for NHC, he said he had one goal and one goal only. And oddly enough, it wasn't to qualify for the NHC and the last chance, first chance. It was to get down a future bet on Forbidden Kingdom before the San Vicente that weekend. And so he went out and he got that future bet in. I forgot what he got it at, but he got it in right before that San Vicente win, and he went ahead and beat Pinehurst by 2.25 lengths pretty easily. Did it all pretty push button. So Caleb doesn't like him. It's a Juan Hernandez horse, so you guys can write it down as the lock of the weekend. Forbidden Kingdom is going to win the San Felipe. The other horse I was interested in was a 7 Cabo Spirit. I think Caleb already, talked all the reasons why this horse is good. Nick Feldman's also, but most of my money, if I'm betting this sequence, will be going Forbidden Kingdom. Andrew, what do you got?
Yeah, Josh, we agree. If Forbidden Kingdom can get 2 turns, the race goes through him. Can he get 2 turns? We'll see. But as far as Derby preps this weekend go, this is it's not an inspiring group, because if you don't like Forbidden Kingdom, what else is there? Both of the Bafferts have really significant questions. Armagnac beat 4 other horses on a track that was playing very kindly to early speed. Doppelganger looked good at Los Alamitos and then did absolutely nothing in the San Vicente, did no running. And the pedigree there doesn't necessarily indicate 2 turns. Cabo Spirit, I understand, but I'm actually going to go even crazier with the Cheese Whiz. If you are playing a Dave Weaver-inspired Ice Cold Exacta.
Ice Cold! Sorry.
What happens if you toss the Bob Lewis for Happy Jack?
Yes.
I mean, that horse ran a 75 buyer speed figure in the debut. Maybe that horse just bounced. And if he bounces, and if they go really, really fast early on, and if it turns out that maybe he's just a 1-run closer and the Bob Lewis was over that quirky track, as someone else mentioned, maybe he's got room to improve. But as far as ability goes, I think it's Forbidden Kingdom's race to lose. Maybe play a little 6-1 Exacta just to have a little bit of fun.
So Brian likes the 2 worst Reed Sanchez because it's the only horse we haven't talked about.
We haven't talked about Beautiful Art either.
That is not true. I do not like worse Reed Sanchez.
Okay. Who you like, Brian?
I'm going to circle all the way back here because there's a thought process I have here. The 3 and the 5 are owned and trained by the same connections. The 3, Caleb's horse, showed speed last out. The 5 needs speed, needs pace. I think the 3 gets into it with the 6, and you have the 1 and the 5 come rushing through. I think it was Dr. Sarton that liked the revenge face back angle, beat the 5 last out. Now the 5 comes back and beats the 6 kind of thing. But that's my conspiracy theory. Starlight and Baffert, they've got 2 of the horses here. One's a closer, one's a speed horse. There will be some shenanigans because I'm sorry, Andrew, it's California racing.
Hey, you're not offending me. I'm a native New Yorker.
So, I think that the 3 way the 6, and I think it sets it up for the 5 or the 1 to come running through. So, if 1 over something like 3, and maybe the 2.
I think you're in the clear as long as you don't insult the pink sheet.
Yeah, you insult the pink sheet, I come through the screen and I choke you out.
Like Chris Benoit choke out, or
too soon? Too soon.
Man. In like 9 years, man.
Too soon. Too soon.
Man, that was like falling out of falling out of the rafters or something. Like
Owen.
Oh no, that's it. We're getting canceled. Jay's asking about this 4 beautiful art. Maiden claiming to a G. Isn't Maiden claiming to a G2 a winning move?
I don't know about ability-wise, but I do need to point something out. According to the Daily Racing Form, the sire Klimt carries a stud fee of $567. This horse sold for $310,000, which is one of the biggest disparities that I have ever seen with regard to breeding. One of the theories is if the horse sells for 10 times the stud fee, it could be a runner. What's $310,000 divided by 567?
Yeah, we said we don't do math in this.
Yeah, it's not a thing.
So yeah, because Brisnet still has it at 7,500, but still, that's a huge disparity. I didn't even notice that.
Wow, that's great.
Even if it is 7,500, this was still the most expensive Klimt, foal to sell at the entire OBS spring sale. So I mean, clearly there's expectations here, right? Kaleem Shah, Simon Callahan. Like I can see the angle. I just never know what to make out of a $200,000 maiden claimer. I mean, is it basically a maiden special weight at that point? And there's a lot of unknowns here, and not the least of which is Mike Smith. So I don't know what to do with the horse. I don't want a short price, and that's probably not going to be a short price, so I'd consider it.
Look, we got some overachievers in here actually doing the math. Charles is saying, but the thing is that they're both like wildly different, so I don't know who's right.
Show your work.
Ask who has their shoes on still.
Charles says over 8,000 to 1. Road Warrior says 546 times. I don't know.
Go with Charles. We know Road Warrior. He's New York. He's Aqueduct. He can't do math.
It's that New York public education.
Look, I have to tell you guys that Road Warrior, when I had him on the podcast, was literally the most prepared person like I've ever talked to. And no, I'm not saying the most prepared person I've ever. Road Warrior's right. Yep. Road Warrior's right.
Yep. Whoever said that, congratulations. You win a hero cookie. And do not knock New York Public Education. Signed, Kingston High School graduate, class of 2006.
Road Warrior probably went to the same high school. He's upstate New York, right?
Kingston's Queens, isn't it?
Oh, Queens.
I was about to say Queens is not upstate, though. There are some people who think anything north of the Tappan Zee Bridge is Canada.
Our friend lives in upstate New York, and I think he's a queen.
Jay says he's still trying to carry the 5 in the math problem.
It's okay. You'll get it.
Oh, he lives in Staten Island.
Okay.
Road Warrior lives in Staten Island, so.
Say hi to Darren for me.
But yeah, so Road Warrior was literally the most prepared person I've ever talked to. And like, I'm not saying the most prepared person I've ever talked to on a podcast. I just mean in general, in real life, he was the most prepared person I've ever talked to, period. I mean, it was just the craziest thing. Like, he was like, I don't know, he should go into sales or something because he had everything all lined up. It was great. It was the easiest interview I've ever done. But relevant, looks like Matthew coming back with more stats. Relevant to the Cassiano stat earlier. Smith is 0 for 23 in graded stakes, morning line 21 or longer, last 5 years. Tops.
Yeah, that's bet mix right there. That people talk about what's that stats race lines. Bet mix has the same database, the same information at a fraction of a cost. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah,
Sorry,
I mean, stats are great until they're not, right? I mean, if 20 to 1 inherently suggests you're going to win less than 5% anytime, that's 20% or 20 to 1 or longer. I mean, if he had one win, he'd be beating the average. So, like, I wouldn't lose sleep over that if you like the horse.
But yeah, I think we've talked the seven horse race to death. Congratulations to the two Worst Reed Sanchez, the one horse we didn't talk about, to win this race with Mario Gutierrez.
I'd like
upsetting-
that horse if it was on turf.
Oh yeah, Square Eddie. Square Eddie is a great California bred stakes. Love betting the Square Eddies. But let's take a look at something near and dear to your heart here, Andrew. The Gotham Aqueduct, Grade 3, going a mile. And we got, oh God, I should have written this down, but we got a field of 10 here. Your morning line favorite is going to be the 9, Morello. I didn't have morning lines when I capped this, and I really liked the 9 Morello in the spot. I thought for some reason that I was going to get like a better price, but 3-1. I've definitely bet horses shorter than that. So we'll see kind of how things play out here. But I thought that with the pace scenario here, I thought you got quite a bit of pace. And I kind of want someone coming from off of it, and I thought Morello was the best of the horses that are going to be coming from off the pace. So I think I'm going to kind of just key the 9 Morello here. And did I have anyone else written down? Oh yeah. The other off the pace horse that I was a little interested in was the 2 here, Glider. They ran him on the, they were trying to get him on the turf. But came back and, broke his maiden on synthetic, and then ran a pretty good race here, second to Emmanuel last out. And, sat fourth, sat kind of close to the pace, and closed in with a nice little late pace figure here on Brisnet. So the horse definitely has a bit of a late kick, and I think that he's going to he's going to get a nice pace setup here. He's going to get some pace in front of him. So I think that at 8-1, if you're looking to use another horse here at a bit of a price, I think Glider makes a ton of sense. Brian, what do you think?
So, last race I talked about Starlight and Baffert. Hey, look, they have a third entry here, but this time it's all the way across country. So once again, Baffert sends a horse that he doesn't really like to New York, but that's it. Historically, I've never really cared for the Gotham. It's not my favorite prep. Usually, who was it a few years ago? Tax or somebody like that. It's one of those races where I want to like somebody, but come May, I'll never bet that horse again. And that's where I landed here. My top pick for this race is the 8 Bold Journey. I went a little out there. It's a Bill Mott horse. Bill Mott's typically a slow starter, right? So this horse is 3 for 3 in the money. Maybe a little aggressive last out for February, and just got caught. But it's one of those horses. Vargas is going to keep the value because it's Jorge Vargas. But this horse has been consistent in 3 starts, going all the way back to late in the 2-year-old campaign. The horse has been consistent. And in February and March, as of a 3-year-old year, if I can count on a horse to run, a 90 Briz, then I'll feel pretty comfortable. You look at some of these other horses in this race, and they're all over the place. Of course, Rockefeller's, increasing, and it's a Baffert horse, big surprise. But it's one of, Bold Journey at 6-1 is a horse that you could sink your teeth into and say, you know what, I'm going to get 5, 6, 7-1 horse because Baffert's here, because Pletcher's here. And if a few things go right, this horse could win come Saturday.
Road Warrior is already saying that he's going to be have a little win bet on Billy, so I think your value's gone. Caleb, what did you think?
I think that I wish I could take like 2 or 3 horses from the Fountain of Youth and sprinkle them into the Gotham and the San Felipe, because I would take my 5th pick in the Fountain of Youth over my 1st pick in either of these 2 races, probably. I love Aqueduct, I really do, but I hate the Gotham. There should never be a one-turn race that awards Derby points. Ever since going to the Road to Kentucky Derby point system, you get way too many sprinters at a circuit that doesn't get the best quality of races horses anyway, and you kind of get messy races like this. I'm with you, Josh. I think Morello is going to be probably like a single A for me, so to speak, if we were going to be playing this race in horizontals or anything. I don't think he'll get 3-1. I think he'll be 9-5, maybe. I just think he's much the best. He sits a perfect trip with the outside draw, doesn't need the lead. And you don't have to answer the 2-turn question here because it's a 1-turn mile. So I'm not that worried about the distance here. The only other horse I'd really kind of want to highlight is I'm going to take what I think is the shortest price in the field. And I'm actually going to take what I think is the longest price in the field, which is number 7. No Need to Worry. This is a horse that I thought ran pretty good at Parks, and as I am the local Parks correspondent here, it's hard to close at Parks. It's difficult, especially from as far back as this horse has come. And I think this horse is really was so impressive in those Parks wins, and then went to Aqueduct and try the Withers. Didn't run that poorly. I mean, I think with the Withers, and this is more of a general statement, time form, you can maybe use the figs there, but Brisnet, Beyer, Thurgraph, I think all the figs in that race are wrong. If the race came back incredibly slow, but I think we saw Unoho come back to just win the the Rebel last weekend.
Rebel.
Yeah, 700-1 or something like that. And early voting was pressing for Aqueduct. Those are extremely honest fractions, and he wired that field. I thought that's a better race than the speed figure would make you think that it is. I think that was just first time over the track. The horse is going to be a little more fit here. Perhaps didn't just care for the muddy track. So no need to worry. I mean, there seems like there's a lot of speed in here. Probably more likely as an underneath contender than an outright win candidate. But that's a horse that I think would be on definitely my vertical tickets anyway.
Hey, before you go to Andrew, I have to ask Caleb a question. How many times have we sat in this very Restream studio and talked about Parks shippers and the figures from Parks being inflated? And here you are talking this 30-1 horse up like it's the next coming of Secretariat. I love you, but damn it, Caleb, this is a Park shipper, and accept it for what it is. Okay?
Have not Park shippers done exceptionally well at the Winter Aqueduct circuit the last 2 years? And even throughout Saratoga, we've seen a lot of Park shippers come in and kick ass.
I know. I'm just pointing out that we had this.
I mean, he's not Secretariat. I mean, he maybe is, I don't know, Seattle Slew, but he's not Secretariat.
Oh, hell.
Caleb, I'm going to do you a favor. I'm going to yank Brian off of your back because my wagering strategy here is the exact same thing. I think Morello is going to be very tough. I think Morello is going to sit the stalking trip behind a lot of horses that either need the lead or really want the lead. Based on pure ability, Rockefeller's probably the best horse in the race, but he's 2 for 2 when he gets the lead and he's 0 for 2 when he doesn't. And I feel like they're going to have to go very, very quickly with him out of the gate in order to get him into the kind of position he wants to be in. With that in mind, I think the race does fall apart to a certain extent, and I wouldn't be at all surprised if No Need to Worry came running late to be second at 69-1. Hi, Coots. And
Coots.
For me, 9-7, I've heard far worse plays and far worse ways to get some value out of a horse that is probably going to be in that 2-1, 5-2 range. I don't think the horse is going to be 8-5, 9-5. I do think the bigger field and the fact that there are some big names signed on is going to at least get you something resembling a bettable price if you just want to play Morello to win. But a 9-7 exacta, yeah, I could see that. I was looking for that. And the faster they go early, the better chance No Need to Worry has to clunk up, run second, and give Caleb a horse to potentially justify as an entrant in your Kentucky Derby tries and supers come the first Saturday in May. Parks represent, yo.
Let me ask both of you, John DeSilva's, a question. You both talked about Rockefeller being, what it is. Do we downgrade Rockefeller now that Newgrange came back and performed the way he did in the Rebel? The Southwest Stakes was nice. There's a nice outing. You're like, okay, but Rockefeller hasn't ran since the Sham. So what do you do with that, seeing how Newgrange came back in the Southwest? Or the Rebel, I'm sorry.
I'll try to make this quick because we do have 1 minute to race number 8 at Turfway, and I see that somebody is live to the pick 4. Good luck, Nick. I don't. I think it's just a very real chance that maybe Newgrange, as a young, inexperienced horse, maybe he just bounced. Sometimes you just need to throw a race out.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it looks like they're walking.
Rockefeller is only here because he's dodging the Pletcher horse in Florida that's dodging the Pletcher horse in New York.
Okay.
I have no idea why this horse is here. To be honest with you, like, Baffert doesn't like. I've seen Baffert ship to New York, but has he shipped? When's the last time he shipped like someone over for the Gotham or for one of the early preps?
I don't know if
it.
it wasn't for an early Derby prep, but I do know that he shipped Secret Circle in for the Cigar Mile a couple of times. So he has shipped to Aqueduct. But I mean, maybe it's knowing these connections and knowing that there's sometimes really ridiculous stuff going on. Isn't it possible that they just shipped Rockefeller to New York because of the Rockefeller family's heritage in New York?
Good call. Hey, 7/10.
7/10.
I like the 6 a little here.
I was on a 10 here. Caleb, do you have anything at
I like the
Turfway?
7 to 10 as well, but I imagine it's pretty chalky.
3-1 over 5-2.
But the 6 had a little bit of a shot in here.
All right, we're rooting for
But
Nick
best
here,
of
though.
luck
Nick's,
to was it Nick that's got the who's he locked to, the 8 or the 1?
he's got the 8 and the 3.
The 8 and
one.
the 3. All right.
Are you watching, Caleb? Both ones scratched.
Are they both scratch? Well, I meant the 2, I guess. One hole.
Yeah, I actually had some notes on this one because, it's Chris Landeros and the money-crushing jockey he's become.
Oh, God.
Oh, Matthew Bickey dropping the knowledge in the chat about park shippers to New York, just with the crazy good
God,
ROI
dude.
and win percentage.
There you go.
Caleb's like, that's a baby splash.
Oh,
If I've
yeah, I
ever
heard
seen
that one.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed out.
There you go.
This pace scenario, not anything what I thought it was going to happen. I thought this 10 was going to be basically on the engine, but it looks like he's making a middle move here.
So I had the 10 sitting the perfect trip behind the 2, 3, and 5 kind of setup thing. That was my note.
Oh man, this
10 looks like he's got horse, but he
Machismo.
also could be 3 lengths back. I can't tell with the camera angle.
Yeah, we have absolutely no idea what the heck's going on.
He's somewhere between 2nd and 6th.
I know it's the 7th.
Yeah, like right here, he looks like he's like behind 2 lengths,
Get up
but
for second on the 6.
Then they
Get
go
up
behind
on
the
this-
gate, and you have to like try to guess what's going to happen.
Come on,
10-6.
Ooh,
maybe.
10-6.
I might have that
I think
exact.
6 got 2nd at the wire.
I
Yeah, I
might
don't
have
know.
that exacta, and that's not a bad exacta. 10-6 is $53. Let's see, maybe.
I'm not Vic Stauffer. I called it 10-6.
After the
You're
2
not
beats
Vic
we had earlier today.
And by the way, the 6 did have to alter course at the top of the stretch. We might need to look at that horrible camera angle for an inquiry and an objection.
dude,
Whoa. Sir, this is Kentucky. You'll have results in October.
yeah, it's true.
By the way, I will say Medina Spirit was the catalyst for one of the best days I have ever had at the racetrack. And regardless of my opinion on a disqualification, you can have the money I won that day when you pry it out of my cold, dead hands.
Meanwhile, when Maximum Security won
No,
Derby,
don't-
they did
don't go
pry
there.
the money out of my cold dead hands. So.
Mine too. The 2-day pick 5, the 1-day pick 5.
Yeah,
Sad.
Lloyd saying that they just hand rode that 10 all the way around. Yeah,
Never
He
looked
knew-
like
he
a
knew.
loser.
Nope.
I just want to see a photo of the win thing. You can't tell a blessed thing from this camera angle.
At least there's not a tree in the middle of the camera.
Fairgrounds. Caleb's
I love
Caleb's
the
new honey hole.
fairgrounds, but God,
I
those
mean, at
trees
least
piss
it's
me
Turf
off.
Paradise, and we saw him come over the wire.
You mean to tell me nobody gets drunk during Mardi Gras and thinks, I'm going to cut that tree down? Just chop that thing down.
I think about it every night and I'm sober. Well, not right now, but
I got 50 if you do it.
Jazz Fest this year, I'll go out there and spill my hurricane on the tree roots. Ooh, they put the 6 up
out
there.
there.
Let's go.
The
There you
6,
go.
dude. I'll be honest, Andrew. I thought there was no chance in hell that 6 got up after
Me
I saw
too.
the second
Me
angle.
too.
Wow.
What are you talking about? I told you the 6 got up. Why?
Well, that's the reason we didn't think the horse
Yeah.
got up.
Yep.
Trying
Well,
to
dude,
reverse jinx on us.
Dude, I'll tell you, man. The other day, Vic just had this very, very emphatic call. It was one of the stakes races, and I had this horse that just like ran his eyeballs out on the front end, and he got nipped at the wire. And just the way Vic just like emphasized the yes, like at the end. Oh, dude, I got so tilted. I tweeted at him. Because he was that it was like a day or two after he was bitching about something on Twitter, And I was like, well, you know what I don't like? I love it when announcers like to fucking rub it in your face when your horse gets nipped at the wire. But
Yeah, but
he actually apologized to me, which I thought was hilarious because I was just, I was just tilting whatever. But
He's no Andy Serling, huh?
and
no, he's not.
But you know who he's on. He's like Al Michaels on Monday Night Football, and this ball game is over. I mean,
That was an overwhelming result.
You know who exactly is like that as well is good old Jimmy McNerney. You could tell who he bet on, and I know he's got a little bit of unscrupulous background when he was also handing out tickets. But I don't know. You guys remember that when he gave out a ticket on air and then
he hit
like
it with a different ticket.
and he hit it and it was like some huge score with a different ticket, and
no.
Wasn't that that was somebody else that was for someone for CDI did that too, right? Or are we talking about the same?
I think we might be talking about the same thing. Yeah, Jimmy did it because it was like like he had a single on his like ticket that he gave out, and he didn't use that horse at all, like in the ticket that he played. So it was just kind of like it was like real scummy. Like it wasn't like it was different structure or something like the same horses, but like he used just completely different horses, and it was kind of like.
Well, is that any different than the Sumo Bomb one from what was that last month when?
Yeah, but Samo doesn't work for the track. You know what I mean? Like
he has
Tout's
paid
gonna
subscribers, right? He has paid subscribers, and then he doesn't put out a ticket, and he brags about hitting 20 grand. I mean, if you pay $600 a month for his picks, you're probably pissed off, right?
I mean, yeah, but I mean, I would never pay $600 for his picks. So I mean,
I want to pay for Caleb's picks, but he doesn't have a sheet.
I only want to pay for Caleb's picks under very, very specific circumstances. And currently, I am fading Caleb.
How can you pay for your picks during Saratoga, Andrew? Can you drop that again?
You go to the track, you buy a pink sheet, you look the kids who are selling it in the eye, and you say, who's the best handicapper you got? And they will know outright that I told you to do that because they will choose someone else. They do that every year when I bring my family there. I went last year with my girlfriend for the first time. I did that trick and I was fuming. I say, listen, look down, look at the win totals, look at the headshots, look up, and let's try again.
They didn't call you Stabile, did they?
No.
Who else is on that sheet with you?
So it's going to vary a little bit because Dan Fleiss has retired, but Sam Hollingsworth is on there. Liam Durbin is on there. He's ePonies on Twitter. He sends out a whole bunch of stuff every day. He does a lot of different things with his computer program. And there is also the anonymous Wise Owl who has vowed to reveal himself if and only if he wins a meet title at Saratoga. I denied him of that a couple of years ago by beating him on the last day to be the ultimate heel because everyone was rooting for him. But I think there's one opening that the editor-in-chief of the Saratogian, Joe Boyle, is working to fill as, my goodness, April, May, June. We're 4 months away from Saratoga, guys. Wow.
Caleb, have we decided when we're going?
We got to figure it out, man. I mean, I know you got the Keeneland plans coming. Is it really 4 months?
Yeah.
July.
April, May, June, July.
Let's do it. I'm still scheming on trying to sneak up there when you're at Keeneland, Josh. But first things first, we'll get Saratoga figured out.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to be at Keeneland opening weekend. It sounds like so. That should be fun. Keeneland's always a good time.
Can Mr. Knight go?
Papa Knight or Caleb Knight?
No, not Caleb Knight. We don't care about Caleb Knight.
Yeah.
We need Mr. Knight.
I mean, I don't know, man. Papa Knight's kind of like the glue, aka he's basically me in like 50 years, 40 years, so 30 years.
You're like a good luck charm because every time you're around, he hits some big fat bet.
Yeah, the first day at Saratoga, like at Keeneland, I hit every single race except one, and I made like $200. Meanwhile, Papa Knight over here hits the fucking early pick 5 for a couple grand, and like he basically was just playing. Yeah, he was flush, but that Saratoga hit was something else at Del Mar. That was pretty funny. Just like pulled over on the side of the the little like access road out of Saratoga, trying to watch this race at Del Mar. But
That's crap. All my dad's doing is going out for a pack of smokes 40 years ago. He's going back any day now. Any day.
I'm seeing my dad in 2 weeks when we go to Las Vegas for the basketball tournament. Really stoked about that. That's an annual thing that we do.
oh, that'll be fun.
It is that time. Yeah, I remember last year you guys you were all about the March Madness trip.
Yeah, we do that every year. It's we do 2 trips to Vegas every year. It's a nice way for us to meet up. He's still in New York. Last year, the highlight of the trip was when Oregon beat Iowa. We both had Oregon on the money line, and we started quacking in the Flamingo Sportsbook, like either Bill Walton or the kids from the Mighty Ducks. That's a running gag. It's happened a couple of times. Oregon's on the bubble, so there's a chance it'll happen again this year. If you hear someone quacking in a sports book on the Vegas Strip, chances are it's us. Come say hello.
And I was like, Emilio.
Yeah, I will also be driving a limousine onto the ice. Yeah, because there's ice in Las Vegas.
Well, there is ice in Las Vegas, just not Phoenix anymore.
Right.
Yep. Good old T-Mobile Arena. But yeah, no, this is fun. We got a couple other things here in chat. Brian, you said you love this 8. Matthew's all over the 8. Steven saying that Vic Stoffer calls are somehow worse than my Dragon calls. Shout out to Caleb for our League of Legends nonsense that we play. Oh yeah, it looks like Matthew's bringing it up that the racing dudes did a couple weeks ago too. So.
You don't want to pay like $1,800 for someone's picks.
Hey, see, there you go. Matthew's going to be at Keeneland too. So, Josh.
Well, he says he's going to try and go there for the Grade 1 gamble, which I think's like.
I think that's April 23rd. I want to say.
Yeah, I think I'm going to be in Vegas when that's going on. So.
I am trying. I mean, I'm not trying hard, but I'm trying to qualify for that because I'd like to go up for that. I get Grade 1 gamble, but we'll see how this weekend goes.
I'm going to try and go
first.
I'm going to try and go as 2 turns plus 1. I mean, if I have to wear a dress, I will. I'm not shy.
Returns?
Can someone take photos, please?
Yeah, a fat guy in a dress. Call me ma'am.
I was supposed to go to Keeneland in April of 2020. I was thrilled. I was pumped. I was going to go with the Nevilleses, who are 2 dear friends of mine, and then the world broke.
Yeah, my wife and I had a Vegas trip planned, and normally, like we just book a hotel, we'll book a couple dinners, and we just kind of wing it, right? But all of a sudden, I don't know what got into us, but we're like, you know what? We're gonna get show tickets for like 2 nights. We're gonna book these really nice restaurants that we normally don't do. We do all of this planning, do everything, and we were gonna go for I think it was our 5th year anniversary. It was everything planned out. 2020, but we're gonna be there in April to go see Lady Gaga actually, so that should be fun.
Rah rah, oh la la.
Yeah, she does a jazz show. That's the only one that she's doing now, kind of like a Tony Bennett kind of thing with like a big band and everything behind her. So it should be fun, something different, right? But
if Bradley Cooper's not on stage, are you even seeing Lady Gaga?
I haven't seen that movie before, so
Southwest Airlines.
Southwest Airlines. Oh, they have it on there?
They did last month.
Yeah,
they still do. I saw somebody watching it a couple weeks ago on the flight.
It was a good 2-hour movie on the flight. I'll just say that.
Yeah, that flight to Vegas for me is 4 hours, which is always just a little too long for like you got to like you finish a movie and then you kind of got to watch another one. But
bring a book.
I just ended up watching Moneyball for like the 20th time that month, so that's usually fine. But
he says bring a book. Who is this guy?
Dude, have you so
pictures.
Last thing before we wrap up, how do you handicap on a plane? Like, do you feel are you comfortable enough to handicap on a plane? Like, get your iPad out and kind of mark it up and everything. Like,
yeah.
I tried doing that, flying in for the Last Chance First Chance a couple months ago, and like I got through like 2 races, and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I'm just gonna go take a nap. Like, I couldn't do it. But
then you're not a degenerate. I don't even know who you are anymore.
I mean, you're talking to a guy that won't pee on a plane either. I mean, I'd handicap naked on a plane, so it doesn't bother me at all.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's
I not
true.
only
And
handicap on planes, there have been instances where I've had to fly back to the West Coast on Christmas night because of Santa Anita on the 26th. I have handicapped the card at Santa Anita and written it up for my website and bought the $8 in-flight Wi-Fi to post it on my website.
See,
RotoWare, what the hell is a book? The most read person in chat is like, what the hell is a book?
he's the most read person.
I would have to assume so. I mean,
look
like,
at Brian's background, for goodness sake.
Yeah, look at all the books that you got. Yeah.
What you don't see is those are actually all Penthouse Forum. I just get them for the articles.
Well, Andrew, it was great having you on. Thank you so much for filling in. Where can people find you and find your stuff?
Sure. Twitter is at Andrew Champagne. I even got my finger right here. So there we go. At Andrew Champagne, last name spelled just like the drink. AndrewChampagne.com for my website, which is going to be a lot of the Saratoga stuff. If you're not on track, you can look and get my picks and analysis at Saratoga there. Also, playfecta.com is Katina Media's horse racing site, doing a whole bunch of stuff for them. And by the end of the day tomorrow, I'll have a whole bunch of analysis, selections, betting strategies. Those cross-country pick fives tomorrow are so good. I'm looking forward to diving in and writing about those. But those are the main things. Thank you guys for having me. Really appreciate it. This was a lot of fun, and actually wound up handicapping the last couple races at Turfway and making a couple of bucks off that last race exacta. So woohoo! Don't try to get a percentage.
Yeah, well, it was great having you on. Thank you again. And you guys can catch us at ontherwronglead.com. Obviously, our Twitter handles are here at @wrong_lead. And Andrew, I don't think you've seen this video yet, so we're gonna roll out with this.
Oh,
one.
I know what this is.
Here it comes.
What if I told you that the perfect man did exist, but he was cursed? I mean, he's just a complete handicapper. East Coast, West Coast, Midwest. Might be the best I've ever seen. He could be the best looking guy in all of horse racing. I mean, he gives Matt Bernier a run for his money. I mean, we all saw it. He was minding his own business, walking back from the bathroom. Hottest girl in the bar just grabs him and says, "Reel me in." Turns out you can't always be that lucky, though.
Zulu Alpha charges up the rail under Tyler Gaffleon and takes the lead late. Zulu Alpha wins the Pegasus World Cup Turf.